name is Bill Kling, and I've been collecting cars for 35 plus years, going on 40, and I've had them all. I've had street rods, muscle cars, Jaguars, you name it, I've had it. And when I do it, I usually buy them in quantity. So long about the 90s, when I decided I wanted to try and get a classic car, my wife, unfortunately, who is no longer with us, was very attracted to Packards. Now, I've always liked them because I like the slogan, ask the man who owns one, and I've owned as many as 4 or 5. They're a quality piece of machinery, okay? And so I've had different ones. Right now I have a 34 Standard 8 Coupe that I've taken on long journeys, 1,100 miles through the Canadian Rockies for one. I have a 41 120 Deluxe, which they made 38 of, station wagon. And I have a 42 long wheelbase sedan, which is like driving a city bus. But recently, a good friend of mine who's a major General Motors guy said, you ought to get a Cadillac. And I had seen a Cadillac Model 75 Fleetwood on one of my runs in upstate New York with a classic car club. So I ended up buying one, a convertible sedan. And while not a bad car, I've done a whole bunch of stuff to it, rebuilt the engine and gone through the things. Now it's 100% mechanically, but it's not a Packard. It's not a Packard. Because I can compare that same era of car, whether it's the Woody, which just drives like a dream, it's an absolute phenomenal car, or the 42, it doesn't have the same feel. Now, I guess the good news with the Cadillac is it's a lot less expensive to do stuff to it. I had the engine done, and the long block complete was under $8,000. I had the engine done in my 42 long wheelbase sedan, and it was like $23,000, $24,000. And that's the nature of the number of main bearings and line boring and Packard parts and this and that. But when you get the Packard done and you get it on the road, it is an amazing automobile. It is, to me, it's the class of the manufactured cars of that era. I went back to the, not the 100th, but the 110th anniversary back in, was it Warren?
Warren, I believe so, right.
And I was blown away with how avid the people are about the cars and the whole history.
It's the passion. Right?
Yeah, the whole passion.
Right.
I've gone to, and please, I mean, I don't know where you're going to publish this, but don't show it to any Cadillac people. I joined the Cadillac LaSalle Club. It's not the same. And most of them are driving modern cars. Well, we can't do that with the Packard, can we? Because 58, really, arguably 54, 55 was the last of them. But they don't have that same passion. They're driving around in a 66 Cadillac or a 73, Eldorado or something. It's not the same. And I just think that the whole Packard thing is like really cool. And my collection, you were asking before, I have everything from 300 SL Mercedes to numerous Porsches these days. That's kind of my passion. To the Packards, I have one T-Bird, 57, bringing me back to high school. And what else do I have? I don't know, there's other stuff in there I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, I've got a couple of Ferraris. So I have different cars. But the Packards are like really terrific. I like the styling. There's a whole bunch of things. I'm not much of a post-war Packard guy by my time. I like the pre-war body styles better.
Isn't part of it that people drive the cars?
Yeah.
It makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's not just parked in a display area.
They drive the Cadillacs too. In fact, driving Cadillacs, when you go on one of these classic caravans, as they call them,
yeah,
most of them are Cadillacs. Usually Model 61s and 2s, 41, 42s. They're kind of the generic cruise car. And they're pretty reliable and stuff. They're not bad looking cars, but they're kind of generic. They really didn't change much. Even into the early 50s, it kind of had that sort of flat front with the kind of the egg crate grill sort of, with the the thing, and they're nice cars. But you take a Packard of that era, and the Packard looks regal, in my view, and the Cadillac does not. They perform. They're very reliable. You know, I think the thing, of course, Packard, when they ran into money problems, they didn't innovate. You know, it's much like Indian Motorcycle. They kind of got behind the times, and now Cadillac's coming out with overhead valves and stuff, and I think that was 48, 49, and Packard was 53, 54 when they finally got overhead valves, and things like that. And like I said, I'm not real crazy about the post-war. I do like a 49 convertible. I think that's an attractive car. But the Packard Woodies, or station sedans after the war, not so much. I don't care for that look where the wood's kind of on the door and on the back and whatever. Caribbeans are handsome. Caribbean convertible's a pretty car. So, but there is something about the history of it and all of that is very intriguing. And the quality of the cars are just, in the 30s especially, I think is amazing for the era. So that's my Packard.
All right.